Ну что, друзья, привет! Наконец-то я разобралась, как выйти в прямой эфир. Пока вспомнила в мои-то годы, как это делается. Совершенно случайно с Марком решили провести этот эфир, немножечко поболтать. Ну и для тех, кто учит английский, я думаю, что это будет очень и очень полезно послушать речь носителя языка. Ну что, Марк, присоединяем. Так. Так, теперь как это... Ага, принять. Угу.
Hello.
Hi, glad to see you. How's it
Hi,
going?
yeah, good to see you. I had my headphones working. I was listening to you, but now it's just changed. That's okay. We'll put that away.
So I don't think that we now are going to have some, people who are watching, but I hope that after our live, there will be people who will be watching us. So I need to say that that was quite unexpected decision to have this conversation. Just we didn't agree about the topic, about everything. It's just live talk.
We were just talking yesterday and decided to do it.
Yeah, so probably as usual we have very interesting conversation, and I think that we will make it. So firstly, welcome back to Kazakhstan from warm and great place, Thailand. Did you like staying here? How was your vacation?
It's been a shock to the system to be in Thailand last week, 35 degrees, sunny, beautiful weather, on the beach, swimming, snorkeling, and then back in Kokshetau, it's -12 today. It's been snowing since last night. It's a big shock to be back.
I understand you. Yeah, I after all the time after when I come back to Kazakhstan after vacation, first of all, I have a small depression for a week or for 2 weeks. Then I have, I'm just staying at home, working at home. That's crazy. So what about you? How do you feel after being in heaven and then come back to Sibir region, North Kazakhstan?
Yeah, well, I haven't experienced that depression of returning. And it is hard to go from that that weather, that climate. That's what I'm thinking of, climate. Going from that climate, coming back to a winter, northern Kazakhstan winter. I was prepared for it, and I knew it was happening, so it's not a shock. But I know what you mean. That can happen, but it hasn't happened to me this time, which I'm grateful for. I've come back to the comfort of home, and, I was away for just long enough to it sounds strange to be bored about Thailand. I wasn't bored. We talked about it back when I was planning it, how we were going for 3 weeks, which is an unusually long time for people to go to Thailand. Mm-hmm. But I thought that I wanted to go for a month, but I think 20 days was just perfect. It was just long enough.
How did you realize that it's enough for vacation? What do you feel at that moment?
The comforts of home, the simplicity of home, when you start to miss that, when we're on holiday in a place like Thailand, it's we don't have a kitchen, we don't have room. We've got the hotel room, and every meal, even breakfast, you have to go to a restaurant, even if it's your hotel restaurant. You're going downstairs to get breakfast, and we just wanted to get porridge for breakfast, just to cook some porridge for breakfast. Even though the American breakfast, which is what we were having, was eggs and sausages and bacon. Bacon was good. I miss bacon a lot. So I had bacon at every opportunity while I was in Thailand.
Actually, we have bacon as well too here in Kokshetau. I can tell you the place.
I mean, I know I can get it if I want it, but cooking it in my mother-in-law's kitchen is a different story.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
tell me about your vacation. Like, if it's not too personal, like,
No,
can you share
no.
what did you do? How did you spend your
Well,
time?
yeah, the purpose of going to Thailand just now was to celebrate our 10th anniversary. And
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh,
That
thank
is
you.
really good event. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a milestone, 10 years of marriage.
That's amazing.
And we've got 2 boys now, which we didn't have 10 years ago. But we returned to the very beach the place where we got married was Katatani Resort in Phuket, Thailand. Mm-hmm. That's where we got married on the 11th of November 10 years ago. We went back there. We didn't stay there this time. Like when we got married, we stayed the night at that resort on our wedding night. But we didn't stay there this time. We just visited it while we were there. Mm-hmm. But that was the main goal, was to return to our place of wedding and also to take our children and show them where they've seen photographs, but to actually be there was a different thing.
They were in plan.
Yeah,
they had been in plan.
They were, what we say is they were a twinkle in my eye. Back 10 years ago. Yeah. It's something you say, back when you were just a twinkle in your daddy's eye.
Oh, so
cute. It just means before you were born.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So we went there. We also got to see my sister and her husband. They visited us when we lived in Turkey 4 years ago, and because it was our wedding anniversary and we were going to Thailand, they visited us while we were in Thailand, and it was their first time in Thailand, so that was pretty cool.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Because they are living in Turkey now, right?
No. When I lived in Turkey a couple of years ago, I lived in Turkey for 6 years up until when we moved to Kazakhstan in June last year. So 4 years ago, my sister visited us in Turkey. Mm-hmm. They live in New Zealand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So probably it's not very common for New Zealanders to visit such places, right? Like Turkey, Thailand, or it's okay? Like, I mean, for people who live in New Zealand.
For New Zealanders to visit Thailand is not unusual. It's no, it's a pretty popular destination. Bali in Indonesia is closer and more popular with Australians. So New Zealanders tend to go a little bit further, pay a little bit more money so that they don't have to spend their holiday with Australians. Mm-hmm. So yeah, New Zealanders go to Thailand. And Turkey is a popular holiday destination. If someone's going to go to Europe and visit Rome and catch the ancient sites and things like that, there are a lot of those ancient Roman sites in Turkey as well. So if someone's going to go to Italy or to somewhere around the Mediterranean, they might include Turkey as well. Mm-hmm. But it was my sister's first time to Turkey. She'd been to Italy and other parts of Europe before, but it was the first time to Turkey when she visited us. So she's getting to see a bit of the world, just catching up with me every few years.
Oh, yeah. That's really cool. And so how did you spend this time? Okay, sorry.
Back to Thailand. The first 10 days, it was just my wife and my children and I, and we went to a place called Kamala Beach, and we rented a it wasn't a villa, it was an apartment. We rented an apartment that had 2 bedrooms and a kitchen and a dining table. That was really cool. We were able to make our own breakfast, and there was a swimming pool there.
Was it like a part of resort, or it was just
it was
apartment somewhere in block houses or something like that?
No, it was a block of apartments with a swimming pool. It's quite a big place, but it wasn't a hotel. There was no restaurant, no bar. It was just apartments. And half of the place is devoted to long-term rentals. And then we stayed in the part that was short-term. So we just rented an apartment for 9 days. And that was really good.
What did you cook? Did you cook, by the way? Did you have a
no,
kitchen?
we went to markets, and we like one night we bought a chicken, a cooked chicken, and some rice and stuff, and we brought that back and ate it. We were buying bread and eggs and muesli and stuff like that for breakfast. So we're having breakfast at home before we went to the beach. Yeah.
Oh, wait. You said musos?
Muesli.
Muesli? Oh, muesli.
Some people call it granola. I think Americans call it granola, but we call it muesli in New Zealand.
Muesli, really. It's like, in Russian it's muesli.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that you said mussels, but in a New Zealander's way, so mussels, muesli.
Sorry, my accent.
Okay, do you call it porridge or cereal? Muesli? No?
Well, yeah, muesli is a cereal. Well, cereal is like that umbrella term for porridge, cornflakes, puffed rice, Cocoa Pops. There's all sorts of things. They're all cereals.
Okay.
Grains. Cereal's another word for grains, I think.
Okay.
So anything like that is a cereal, but muesli and porridge are different.
Muesli. I haven't heard this one. I mean, like, I haven't heard that.
Pronunciation.
Yeah, natives use this word like in the same like Russian do, muesli. Cool. Okay, very interesting.
Yeah, I hear other people say muesli, but to me muesli sounds wrong. In New Zealand we say muesli.
Muesli.
I don't know which is correct. It's just my native idiolect.
Okay. Okay. So you bought muesli, you bought eggs, and did you make breakfast by yourself every morning?
Yeah. I not every morning, but most mornings I cooked the breakfast. But sometimes, a couple of times, my wife cooked the breakfast. Yeah.
Great. And
we even had porridge because the boys were missing their kasha.
Oh. Yes. So, by the way, what is their favorite kasha? Do you know the name of the kashas? Like, there can be different.
Different brands or different styles. I don't know. Yeah. Just the one that we buy. I don't know what it is. Because
yes, we have different seeds. They are like, I don't know even how they call it in English, because there are many different kinds of it, like different seeds, tiny seeds, bigger seeds,
different grains. My favorite one is just rolled oats. I don't know what the other ones are.
Is it like a tiny one? Oh, like round
yeah,
and
round.
tiny. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Pale, kind of grey. My wife puts milk in it to change the color, but I don't like putting milk in anything, so I just make it with water.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
And,
so, yeah. And actually, I remember, can I tell it that you stayed in 2 different places? Because I knew that you are going to stay in 2 different places.
That's right, yeah.
So how was that? Like, did you like the places where you stayed? Did you like the second place? Because you changed 2 places, right?
Yeah, the first place, we had a little problem that the water from the taps, the bathroom water, we weren't drinking it, but it had a smell to it. But we learnt from other residents that it was because there had been a lot of rain just before we arrived, and it had, I don't know, some mud. I don't know. There was a story about it, and why the water was smelly. But if you just ran the tap for a few minutes, it cleared.
Mm-hmm. So is it a rainy season for Thailand right now?
It's the end of the rainy season. So from July till November is the rainy season, but we were there just for the end of it.
Mm-hmm. And so there were problems only with the water and the other stuff you like?
Yeah, everything else about it was pretty cool. It was just a few minutes from the beach, and there was a pool, so even when we were feeling a bit lazy, the boys could have a swim at the place we were staying, which was pretty cool.
Great. At the swimming pool, you mean?
Yeah. Like we went to the beach every day and swam in the ocean, but when we got home in the afternoon, the boys would go for a swim in our pool.
So it's probably like neighborhood, right? You can use there are several houses and they can use one swimming pool. It's like neighborhood.
Yeah. What it reminded me of was Melrose Place, but I might be showing my age. Do you know anything about some American TV shows from the 90s? I think it was the 90s. I hope it was the 90s. Maybe the 80s. Beverly Hills 90210.
Yes.
And the spin-off from that was called Melrose Place.
No, I don't know the spin-off, but I know Beverly Hills, right?
Okay. Well, yeah, Luke Perry and Shannon Doherty and so there was a second show from the same people. It was called Melrose Place, and that was an address, and they had a pool and there was apartments. And that, when I first arrived at the place we stayed at, it just reminded me of Melrose Place. But it doesn't mean anything to you because you never watched it, so don't worry.
Okay. But that's interesting, like you had the flashback to TV show. That's cool.
The older I get, the more often that happens.
Yeah. And what about the second place where you stayed? Did you like the second place?
Yeah, the second place. So for anybody who's watching that knows Phuket at all, the first place was Kamala Beach. That was the location, which is one beach north of Patong. And Patong is the most famous beach in Phuket. It's where Hard Rock Cafe, and that's where all the young people go to party. So we were one beach north of that. Then when we moved, we went 2 beaches south of Patong to Kata Beach. And Kata Beach is where we got married. There's Kata and Kata Noi, which Kata Noi means little Kata. So we went to quiet place, or there are also many people? I don't think there are any quiet places in Phuket, but it was quieter than Patong. So Patong, as I said, is where the young people go, like people who are in their 20s and young couples and single people, they go there. And they also go to Phi Phi Island, which is just a short, half an hour or an hour boat ride from Phuket.
Yeah.
And that's notes.
I'm making notes because, I'm also single, so I'm making notes where I need to go.
Oh, yeah.
Patong, Phi Phi.
Yeah, go to Phuket, and the 2 places you want to go are Patong and then Phi Phi Island.
Gotcha.
If you're going to go scuba diving, go to Phi Phi Island. Yeah,
okay. It's beautiful. You mean?
Yeah.
I mean, like the sea life.
Yeah, it's amazing. The only time in my life I've been scuba diving was about 11 years ago from Phi Phi Island. It was amazing. We stayed there for a couple of days.
Cool.
Yeah, so we went to Kata Beach, and that's where we met up with my sister. She had arrived the day before we got to Kata, and they were staying at a luxurious resort right on the beach. And so we just had a hotel, which is about 5 minutes from their resort. And so we spent a lot of our time on the beach in front of their resort, and the kids used their pool. We didn't have a swimming pool.
It was allowed, like you had an access to their beach territory?
There wasn't a private beach, but like we couldn't have gone into their swimming pool unless my sister was there staying with us. You know, if we were with them, we could use their facilities. And the restaurant was open to anybody that wanted to come and have dinner. But the swimming pool in the guest area, we could use that if my sister was there. But the beach in front of their resort was public beach.
Public beach.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and what about public beaches? Like, are they okay? Are they clean?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a thing in Thailand where there are chair operators, let's call them. I don't know what they're really called, but they have sun chairs and umbrellas, and you pay a little bit of money to rent the chair, and people will come and offer to sell you beer or fruit shakes.
Yes, on other different stuff.
Well, no, there's no. Yeah. Actually, there is. That's been happening for a long time. But now there are shops.
Shops?
Yeah.
Really? Because it's legalized.
Yeah. Now it's fully legalized and unregulated. So, yeah, wow. you can just. Paradise got better. That's all I can say. I already loved Thailand, and it was paradise, but it just got better because they fully deregulated and legalized cannabis.
Wow.
So now there's every 500 meters there's a dispensary selling it by the gram. Yeah.
I'm in shock. Wow.
That was an amazing experience. It was the first time in my life I wasn't breaking the law when I did that.
Okay. Okay. I hope that nobody from police organizations are watching us, but it's okay because
no, it doesn't matter if they are, because it was when you're in Thailand, it's perfectly legal. Yeah. I didn't bring anything back with me, and I'm not going to try and smoke it here, but when I was in Thailand, it was perfectly legal. It's as I say, the first time in my life where I wasn't breaking any laws to enjoy that particular thing.
Right, cool. Okay, so what else did you do there? Some interesting stories, maybe.
Well, the kids got sick. Well, one of our kids, our youngest, Dylan, he got sick. There's a thing called Bali belly.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Yeah. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, sure. Like in every time when you go to another country, you have these like problems with your stomach all the time.
Yeah, the food, and also just the bugs and parasites that live off of humans. They're different in every part of the world. So when you go to a new place, your immune system is attacked by the local fauna. And so the food is a big deal too, because it's really spicy, and that, of course, the kids don't like spicy food, so we were getting mild things for them, but it affected Dylan. He got sick while we were in Qatar. So for about 3 or 4 days, my wife and I had to take turns. One of us would just stay at the hotel with him. And so we did that, but that was not too bad actually. I enjoyed that as well. It was like a rest day.
Okay.
Yeah, but as far as there wasn't, no, it was all very relaxed and much the same. It was just going to the beach and swimming and hanging out in the sun, and I love Thai food. It's delicious. and the variety and the spice and everything is. I got I'm allergic to seafood, shellfish
Really?
and lobsters and stuff. So yeah,
I didn't know about that. You don't
right.
eat
Well,
at
you
all?
know, there's not that much of it here in Kazakhstan. It's pretty easy to avoid. But in Thailand, it's there's a lot of shellfish. Every restaurant is a seafood restaurant.
Yes, and I was just, I wanted to ask you about the seafood and ask you how was that? Because it's like the first thing you do when you come to Thailand, because we don't have seafood and the access to seafood and sea products. So the first thing we did with my friend when we first came to Thailand, we tried all sea animals, like everything what was on the stalls in the shops. We tried it. How did you make it? Like how you could live without seafood? What did you do? And it's everywhere, actually.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, all of the Thai dishes and all of the restaurants are available in. You can have it vegetarian, with chicken, with pork, with beef, or with seafood, and almost everything is like that. And you just say what meat you want it with. So I want a massaman curry with chicken, something like that, anything like that, or I want sweet and sour pork, and you can get away with it. And I generally did. One particular restaurant we went to, I ordered something with pork, and when it arrived, it wasn't pork. It was calamari or something. I don't know what it was, but it was the wrong thing. It wasn't what I ordered, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, no, that's not for me. And I gave it back to them, and they brought out what I had ordered. But after I ate it, I felt in my throat that I had eaten seafood.
Really?
Something. I started to get irritated. It got hard to swallow. I knew I was having a reaction to seafood because it's a very particular sensation. But I just went to the chemist and got some powerful antihistamine tablets and took one straight away, one before I went to bed, one the next day, and I was okay. There's no problem.
And have you had it like for a long period of time? I mean, this allergy.
Yeah. When I was, I don't know how old I was, maybe 13 or 14, and I had some prawns or something, and I had the reaction, and that was a really strong reaction. I was sick for days and couldn't swallow and couldn't eat, could hardly drink. And that swore me off all seafood and shellfish for the rest of my life. It's really no problem for me. Some people who love crayfish or lobster or something, they go, oh, how can you live without it? And I'm like, it's really easy because it's painful to eat.
Yeah, I understand. But this food is also like contains nutrition, which is necessary for our body. So how you just fulfill these missing nutritions and vitamins or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think variety, you get away with things. There's, people are vegan, but they still manage to find protein. I think we can, anybody can live without seafood. It's okay. I mean, there is nutrition in seafood, but it's not the only source of anything, really.
I got you.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about that. Sorry, because all the time when we were on our English clubs at Bedouin, I've never even seen that you don't eat seafood, because I'm always asking for how to call it, like the seafood soup. I all the time order it.
Tom yum?
Tom yum,
no.
Yes. And it's and I'm always like saying, oh, it's so tasty, it's so tasty. I didn't know that you don't eat it. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean, it's no problem if you eat it. It's not like I'll get sick if somebody next to me, like even my wife eats seafood and it doesn't affect me at all. But yeah, when I eat it, there's a problem. And so it's the first time in about 20 years maybe that I've, maybe not quite that long, maybe it's happened before, I can't remember. But it started out as I was quite worried. I thought it was going to be a bad reaction, but the antihistamine sorted it out really easily, really quickly. Within an hour, I was feeling better of taking the first tablet, and I just took some more, and then the next morning, just to be safe. It was a positive experience. I've got less anxiety about eating seafood because I know how to deal with it better now than I did before. So that's good. I was quite young the last time I ate seafood, and I think if I don't remember if I had antihistamine that first time. Maybe I just waited for it to end, which is kind of a stupid thing to do. I'm a bit wiser now.
Maybe you didn't know that you have like allergy at that time.
Well, the first time I didn't know I had an allergy. That's for sure. Yeah.
You know, the idea came to my mind. Can it be the secret of your youth? Like you don't eat seafood? Maybe that's why you look so great. Like I'm looking for a secret of you looking so great.
Well, I mean, I look at my beard. I've got grey in my beard. I don't look that young.
But even with this gray beard, you looks great. You know, you look great.
Okay.
What's your secret?
Well, it's not. I don't think it's my secret alone. I think it's my whole generation.
Mm-hmm. So your mother, they also look great at their age.
No, my generation. So my sisters, Generation X.
Mm-hmm.
I'm part of Generation X. We grew up in the 80s and 90s, and all over the world, Gen X are aging better than the boomers that came before us.
I saw examples. I can tell you, not everyone.
Okay.
Not everyone.
Not everybody. But yeah, there's a few things that don't make sense because in my youth, I was a heavy smoker and a regular drinker, and I've really got no excuse at all for looking younger than I should. But when I was 21, I remember when I was 21, I looked 15 or 16. I used to get ID'd whenever my friends and I went to bars in my early 20s. I had to carry my ID or I would not be able to get in. I literally looked like a high school kid when I was in my 20s. And I remember I was reminded of this by a good friend of mine a few years ago. We were late in the evening one night. We were both quite drunk. And my nickname with those guys was Babyface. And I said to him, he said something to me. I can't remember what he said to me, but I said to him, I said, yeah, but when we're in our 40s, I'll still look like I'm in my 30s, and you guys will all be bald and grey.
Yes. So it's true now?
Yeah, about 10 years ago, he reminded me of that. And he said, it's true. You do look in your 30s, and I am bald and grey. So, yeah, I was right.
You
and
were
I don't
right.
really, yeah.
Wow, that's cool. That's really cool. You look great.
Yeah, but both of my sisters look younger than they really are as well.
Okay. And so, how old is your sister, by the way?
Well, I'm the youngest. And so I've got a sister that's 50 and another one that's 51.
15. Oh, okay. 50, 51. But it's not a big difference between you and your sisters.
No, we were all born quite close together. Yeah.
Okay. So can we have some more time? Can we have some more conversation, or you have something to do? Okay, just a few minutes. Just 2 minutes. You know, I was thinking to talk about traveling, like to discuss this topic. There's
that's what we said the other day, the original plan.
The original plan about what?
Well,
About
no,
the
when
conversation?
we talked about
Oh, yeah.
doing a live Instagram live tonight, we talked about that we would talk about travel, which we have done. So what about travel?
Yeah, so what about travel? There is a saying which I really like. In Russian, it's like I translated to English. It sounds like it doesn't matter how much your sneakers cost if you walk down the Paris in them. Have you ever heard this expression?
Walk down the what?
Walk down the Paris. Paris.
Paris.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter how much your sneakers cost if you walk down the Paris in them.
Okay.
I really like this one, and
It's
I would
good.
like to know your opinion about that. What do you think about this expression?
Well, I haven't heard it before, but I like it because there's some truth in that. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter what your shoes cost if you wear them in Paris. If you're wearing them in Paris, maybe we could change the phrasing.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah,
Sounds better.
yeah. I like it. It's good because it's true.
So tell me, why do you think it's true? Because it's my position as well. Like I'd better to spend money for traveling than for things. But I know many people, even among my friends and family, who likes to buy things, expensive bags or something like that. Um, uh, like they are not going traveling, but they like buying things and stuff. So what do you think about that?
Well, it's a difference of opinion or view. People like you and I who think the spending the money on the traveling, that's an experience-based view, where the experience is the most valuable thing. Where, you know, you go somewhere, you have an experience, it broadens your horizons. I never really appreciated my life in New Zealand, the simplicity of life in New Zealand, until I traveled to some other place. And, you know, the experiences, but also the difficulties of traveling in another place. I mean, you have a good time, you meet some great people, but there's a certain amount of difficulty in being in a country where they don't speak your language, or everything you've got is on your back in your bag or something like that, and just getting around is difficult. Then you go home. Also, coming from New Zealand, it's a really beautiful place, but I didn't really know how beautiful it was until I saw a bit of the world and realized that I come from a paradise as well. So this is all the value of experience. But another view is putting value in material things and comfortable things, having a nice car and a nice home, and like those are good things too. You don't want to miss out on that. But having the brand labels so that everybody knows how much you spent, that stuff to me is irrelevant. But for other people, it's really important. Mm-hmm. That image, the opinion of other people, like having comfortable shoes and comfortable clothes and a comfortable car, that's good. I want a reliable car. I'm not that interested in whether it's a Mercedes or a BMW or whatever. But there are people where that is important, so that they're seen to be driving the right car or the expensive car or the important person's car. And I don't know that that's invalid, but it's just not how I feel.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not even about the stuff, not even about the comfort. It's like about other people's opinion, as you said.
Yeah. Sometimes fashion can be really uncomfortable. But
all the time. Most of the time it's uncomfortable.
I think more so for women than men. Men's men's fashion tends to be, like we're talking about clothes and shoes, men's fashion tends to be comfortable, but women's fashion quite often isn't.
Right. And also you mentioned that all the time when you're traveling, you faced with some challenges, like in every country. And actually you traveled a lot. You spent some time in Turkey, then you also lived somewhere in another country.
Yeah,
Not
Cambodia.
mistaken. Where?
That's right. Before Turkey, we lived in Cambodia for a year.
Cambodia. Wow.
That's the worst place to live, I think. No, there are probably worse places, but as far as places I've lived, Cambodia might have been a mistake, really. But it was a good experience anyway.
Yeah, still it's experience. So how do you usually handle with some obstacles? Like you said that there are many of them. How you handle with them when you come
Right.
to
Well, the obstacles and difficulties of actual travel, like, you know, airports and trains and buses and that kind of thing, you've got to be patient and prepared. I think having all of your documents that you need, any visas that you need, just being prepared and mentally prepared, knowing, like, if you're going to be the one who's responsible when you're younger, when you have a spouse who's like into organization, if you've got a very organized person, you can leave it up to them. Just let them look after everything. But if it's you on your own, or if you're the one responsible for those things, being prepared and knowing where everything is really important. It lets you relax and be comfortable. So you don't have to keep it in your mind what time your flight is. As long as you've got it in your pocket, you know. Plan ahead. What time do I have to be at the airport? All that sort of stuff. That lets you relax while it's happening. If you're prepared before it starts, then you can relax while it's happening and just be patient. That's a big thing. Airports are like waiting for a flight, or when you're traveling and there's 2 flights and you have to spend 4 or 5 hours in an airport just waiting for the next flight. That can be a big problem. It can be really not just boring, but stressful, irritating. But if you can relax and be at peace in any situation, then you're, you know, that's a lot easier to do. So I'm grateful that I can relax even in an airport or when things aren't going so well. I did get a bit stressed on the way to Thailand, but my wife said, "Hey, come on."
Oh, what was the stress? Like, was it difficult? Long flight?
No, it was a bit stupid, really. It was at the end, well, because there were 4 of us, and the airplane we were in was 3 and 3 with 1 aisle. So my wife and children they were together on one side, and I was on the aisle, and the guy next to me was old and huge. It was an old Kazakh guy, and he was huge, and he was coughing and sneezing the whole flight. It was only from Astana to Almaty, but like his elbow and shoulder were in my seat. So I got irritated by that. I was a bit pissed off, and I'm so glad that was the short flight.
How many hours?
Well, it was just to Almaty. It was only like an hour and a half.
From Astana to Almaty. So you were flying from Astana to Almaty, and from Almaty directly to Phuket?
Phuket, yeah, yeah. But then when the flight ended and the seatbelt sign came off, I stood up to get our bags out of the overhead luggage locker. Well, I stood up and opened the thing over the head and was reaching out to get my bag, and this guy just pushed me out of the way, and I nearly fell on my children. He just barged me, and then I kind of recovered and leaned on the seat, and I turned around, and there he is getting his own bags out of the other side. He just had no interest in any respect for anyone else. And so twice,
I'm so sorry.
Same guy, twice. First, his elbow and shoulder are in my seat during the flight, and then he just poof. And then after that, we're all waiting, and the aisle's full of people. We're waiting for the plane to start unloading. Mm-hmm. And I was in the aisle, and he was standing in his seat, and not standing in his seat, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And he started telling me to go in Russian, so I didn't understand exactly what he was saying, but his hands were...
You felt it.
telling me to get out of his way. And he was smiling, and whatever he said might have been nice, but I was like, where can I go? There's nowhere to go. And my plan was to let my wife and children go in front of me. I like to be at the back, making sure everybody's in front of me. That's my sheepdog mentality, just keeping everybody in line so I know where everyone is.
Okay.
Herding the family through the airport. And so I wanted them to go in front of me, but the plane was full of people. So there was nowhere to go. But there's this guy behind me telling me to go. And I just got angry. I just said, look, there's nowhere to go. I can't go anywhere, so just stop.
Did he understand you? Or
no.
He didn't speak English at all? So he didn't understand you at all?
No, I didn't understand him, but I didn't understand him either. He didn't understand me. But I was just like, I said, shush, just wait. Shush.
Shush.
I put up my hands and said, shush,
Mm-hmm.
just wait. And other people, I heard some woman say, oh, he's just an old man. And I was like, that doesn't mean he can be rude to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how old he is. I know in Kazakhstan there's a big thing respecting elder people, but those people need to deserve respect. I don't believe that they just automatically get respected.
I understand you because sometimes I think that everyone deserves respect. Doesn't matter what age. Even when I'm talking with my with my students, I'm always like, we have we, like you, but the personal, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you don't have we, ты. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, we've got the individual you and the group you.
Individual you, and right. So I'm always, when I'm talking with my students, I'm always say not you, but you, like вы, respectfully. I'm always talking with them. Even doesn't matter what age they are, I respect them. So I don't think that it depends on the age. I absolutely agree with you.
I automatically respect strangers.
Right.
But this guy had lost my respect through earlier behavior. But it still didn't, I gave him the power to affect my mood. That was my choice. I shouldn't have done that, but I did.
Yes, it's deep, and you're right, actually, you're right. If we go psychologically deeper, as we usually do and like to do that, yes, you allowed him to change your mood.
I allowed his behavior to affect my mood, which I'm not usually doing that with people I don't know. I don't usually give strangers that power. But that did make me feel stupid. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the holiday, it never happened. I kept remembering that, and it didn't happen the rest of our travel. And when we were coming back, on the way back after the Phuket to Almaty flight, I was getting people's bags out of it and helping them, and I was completely different on the way home. So on the whole, a positive experience. But at that moment, at the end of the flight to Almaty, I was ashamed of myself.
I understand you. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Sometimes it happens. But as you said, you can affect on your mood. Like, you can do something, not letting other people change you and change your moods and spoil your moods. So you can make some kind
Yeah,
of defense.
we often think, oh, he made me angry, or she made me angry, or what you did made me angry. But that's not actually how it ever works. What you did was what you did. That I got angry is something I let happen.
Right. It's like emotional
And
intelligence.
yeah, and sometimes, I mean, it's something I know intellectually, but sometimes when I get tired, I let it happen anyway. But then I get reminded. And thankfully, as soon as I'm reminded, it just takes a couple of breaths to let it all go. And that's good.
Yeah, great. And what about
Holding
regulations?
on to anger is the worst thing you can do.
Sorry, come again, please. I didn't get you.
Holding on to anger is the worst
Anger.
thing you can do.
Yeah, but there is also. I'm always thinking it's great sometimes to hold your anger, but it's not good for yourself when you hold your anger. It can cause some disease and other bad stuff. So
Yeah. I mean, there's times when anger is useful, like when there is a legitimate threat. Then getting angry is a powerful tool. It puts your body into action mode, and sometimes it's important to do that and necessary. But holding on to it and carrying it with you when you're no longer in that situation, that's just bad for us.
Right.
Yeah.
It can destroy us for sure. So I wanted to ask you also about the regulations. I mean, like wearing masks, some rules, or COVID regulations. Is it okay with that now?
Yeah, we printed our vaccine passports because my wife and we've had all our vaccines. We printed our vaccine passports so that we could show the immigration officers in Thailand. They didn't even look. They didn't ask about them. They didn't look. There were a lot of people wearing masks, especially people who were working in the airport. And there were some tourists. I was wearing a mask, but nobody else in my family was while we were traveling. But in Thailand, I'd say there was about 5 to 10% of people wearing masks, but there was no mandates to wear masks.
Great.
We didn't get nobody told us we needed to wear a mask, but there were some people wearing them, and more often, the people who were wearing masks were working. Like, so we saw Thai people wearing masks, but not that many tourists, although some tourists were.
And they didn't ask you to wear a mask when you went to shops or restaurants?
No, not while we were in airports, not while we were in shops, restaurants, hotels. Nobody was requiring us to wear a mask.
And you have vaccination passport, but you didn't make not a vaccine, but test?
No, we had no test. We checked out the requirements before we went, and for Thailand, it's a proof of vaccines being up to date. So you need to have had three vaccine injections. That would be up to date, or being vaccinated and boosted, depending on when you were vaccinated. That had to be before, like earlier than 3 weeks before travel. If you hadn't been fully vaccinated before then you needed a negative test.
Negative test which is valid for 48 hours.
Yeah.
72.
Yeah, the negative PCR is only valid for 48 hours because whatever you did since you were tested could have exposed you. So that was what they said on the website, of the Thai consulate website. So we printed our vaccine passports showing that we've been fully, and even on the website it told you which vaccines were valid in Thailand. And the one we had was recognised and valid, so that was good. But nobody at the airport was interested in looking at our vaccine passport.
And when
we
you
didn't
were
notice
coming
anybody.
back, and when you
When
were
we were
coming
coming
back to
back,
Kazakhstan, no, they didn't ask you also.
no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, that's cool. It's like an air of freedom. We can feel the air of freedom right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, coronavirus is still there. COVID-19 still exists, and it's still mutating and growing. And there are places, specifically China, Taiwan, Japan. There's a few places that they're still having lockdowns. They're still freaking out every time someone smells like coronavirus. But most places in the rest of the world have gone, well, it's here. There's nothing we can do about it. We can't prevent it. We just can manage it and try to treat it when it happens. But the idea that we were going to eradicate it, that most of the world has accepted that that's not going to happen.
Right.
And I think the more, I mean, of course, people are still dying of coronavirus, but not as much as they were in 2020. The earlier strains from Alpha to Delta, I think, I'm not sure about this. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but I think the earlier strains of COVID-19 were more deadly, maybe not as contagious, but more deadly. And the Omicron, or whatever is going around now, is maybe easier to catch, but it has more, it's more like the common cold, or not the seasonal flus that were here before that.
Right. So probably we don't even know that we have it right now. I mean, maybe even now we have it, but we don't know about that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there were always the very mild cases where people tested positive without any symptoms at all. That's been happening the whole time. But I think that's more common now. So hospitalizations and death are down, even though the numbers of new cases are up. And some countries have stopped reporting just positive tests. It's not as relevant now. Having coronavirus is not as scary as it was 2 years ago.
Right.
But there are still people being hospitalized and dying, especially people with what they call comorbidity. So they've got something else already, like they've got diabetes, or they've already got lung disease or obesity or something that makes it worse. But if you've been vaccinated, then it's going to be, whatever you get is going to be milder than it would have been without the vaccines. I think that's true. I don't know. Again, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, so
I don't know, actually. You know, there is a note that there is 1 minute left. I don't know why, but maybe there be some kind of like the specific time for live.
Yeah.
But there is
Instagram's going the way of Zoom.
Yeah. I think we had a great conversation, just 1 hour. I hope that the people will watch it and will practice their listening skills. Thank you very much. I hope that we will meet, like the first Friday of the next month is coming, so I hope that we will meet.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. We missed out on a few of those, but yeah, if we make an effort, we'll do it.
Yeah, for sure. We need to do that. I also have many things to tell you. You know, I had also a crazy time, as I told you. So we have many topics for discussion. So thank you. Have a great evening. By the way, do you have any plans after our conversation? What are you going to do? No.
See my family.
Yeah, see your family. That's great. Yeah. So I'm going also to relax and hope to see you next Friday of the month. Not the next Friday, but the first Friday of December.
First Friday of the month. That's going to be, yeah, 2 weeks, isn't it?
Okay, 2 weeks. Oh, it's too long.
Yeah, I don't know.
We need to shorten the time. To shorten the time a little bit. Okay, we will think about that.
We should organise I love Thai food. It's